Hello, everybody. I'm Jessica Janiuk, and I'm going to be a guest at Angular Day for Frontend Nation. I would love to see you there, asking me a ton of questions, and I can annoy you with all my answers. See you there. I joined the Angular team over 4 years ago, and Angular has evolved a ton since then. When I joined, we were still working on landing our brand new internal engine called the Ivy. And I think I would call it like we were kind of stagnant at the time. But since then, we've been able to revitalize everything about the framework, from its reactivity system to hydration and server-side rendering, and to rethink things like how we can make our developer experience much easier for people to learn, remove barriers for people, and just make Angular a wonderful experience overall. So if you were to look at Angular from when I joined the team to now, I wouldn't say it's night and day, but it's pretty close. A feature that I can't live without. There's a few of them, really. I think the automated migrations probably are one of them. The automated migrations means that if we make a breaking change, you don't have to do a ton of work to move from the old to the new. We migrate for you so that we can bring you along for the ride. That's one big one. And I guess the other one is probably the new deferrable views or defer blocks, because it just makes it so easy to lazy load code without having to do much more than write like a line of declarative code. You don't have to manage your dynamic imports. It does all of that for you. And I think lastly is probably our standalone components, which is now our default. But prior to that, there was a lot of boilerplate you had to do to create a module and then import that and declare that component inside that module. And that's no longer a concern. You can just write component as its own thing. Great question. It's hard to pick because we're doing so much. I think the fact that we continue to not just improve the framework, but to innovate in the space. These are the things that excites me, to be able to create experiences that I think are innovative and exciting, not just for Angular, but they're almost like trend setting in the whole front end space. And I love to see that. I think that kind of speaks to how far we've come as a framework, because we went from kind of stale to now trend setting. And that excites me a lot. I would say the most underrated feature might be dependency injection. We know that other frameworks don't necessarily have it, but it's a key feature of Angular, and it's a huge boon, I think, to being able to deal with things like testing and making sure, it's just a pain to deal with in other frameworks when you're doing it manually. So the fact that it's built in and it's easy to use, I think that is a hugely underrated feature. I think that there's anything else that comes to mind right off the top of my head. Directives, perhaps. We know this is a unique Angular thing, and it, for those that aren't familiar, you can create a directive that can kind of modify the behavior of a component through things like attributes, and it's hugely powerful for doing composition. So if you're only familiar with other frameworks, you might not even be aware that this is a thing. So number one tip for using Angular effectively today, this might be controversial, but read the docs. I don't know. I think that's probably incorrect. How about this? We'll go with don't use modules. We know that was the history of Angular, where everything was a module, but you'll have a better experience if you don't. So standalone is our default now, but stick with that. I think it'll be a much better experience for you. That's an easy one, because so if I wasn't in tech, what would I be doing? I actually started my career as a video producer before I got into tech. And I really enjoy the visual arts in that regard. Like, I do photography for fun as a hobby, and I really enjoy still creating with like video and whatnot. So I would probably try to get back into that. Specifically, I really like being behind the camera, and I really enjoyed doing a lot of the special effects stuff. So I'd probably try to do more of that. So yeah, I think that's probably what I would be doing. A non-tech skill that has really helped me in my career is public speaking. So my degree from college is actually a public speaking degree. And this has been one of my biggest strengths, I think, in the tech industry, because I'm so comfortable being on stage, giving talks, being on camera, giving talks. And I think also having a non-technical background before moving over to tech also gives me the perspective to be able to communicate effectively to people who are non-technical about technical things. So that easily stands out as one of my best skills that I have brought to the tech industry, but is definitely not originally a tech skill. That's a really tough one. The one I want to say is probably something like to make sure you're in a safe and comfortable environment and you're happy with the team that you're on. So for me, being on a team where everybody supports each other is critical. And if I am in a space where I don't feel that, it is actually really hard for me to feel good about my day-to-day job. So I know I've gotten this as advice before too. So making sure that you're in the right place, on the right team, that's the perfect fit for you is really important. And if you're not, and you're feeling like it's a difficult working environment, or you're just not meshing, you're probably not thriving. So definitely put the effort in to make sure that you have the right fit with the team. Oh gosh, guilty pleasure when it comes to entertainment. Gosh, I waste so much time watching YouTube. Like these days, I don't really watch a ton of movies or TV anymore because I just am like so engrossed in YouTube videos these days. And usually it's something like I'm watching other people play video games, probably because they're better at them than me. I think that's probably my guilty pleasure these days. Also, games I would never play, but it's entertaining to watch other people play them. Yeah, that's probably it. I would tell myself that I am much more capable than I think I am. When I started in this field, I was almost entirely self-taught, and I didn't realize how capable I was of doing the work and also learning the work. And yeah, like I think if I went back and told myself, talk to myself at a younger point in my career, I would try to raise my confidence level in that regard. Because even to this day, I still deal with imposter syndrome and like believing that, someone soon will be like, wait, you don't know what you're doing, even though it's never ever happened. Yeah, that's what I would probably do.